when we talk about the stories that really matter, this is a story that really matters. So TikTok has begun removing genocidal comments targeting Jews, including phrases like Free Palestine. The move appears to align with U.S. values and may be an effort to avoid promoting violence while attracting a U.S. buyer. Now, of course, this is all bullshit. The reality is that Free Palestine, the Free Palestine movement, appears to have been one of the conditions to bringing TikTok back online.
Of course.
TikTok was banned. And of course, I want to take all the credit in the world for bringing it back. But the fact is, the reason it came back online is because you knew it had to have some type of negotiation tactic.
And it's only temporary for right now. It's on hold. And I want to say, like, but if that right there doesn't prove that their real issue is speaking about Palestine and has nothing to do with China, that's it right there. And the fact that they're using it to sort of then foster issues with China, that's a bonus. I find the whole thing is ridiculous. And I don't think it'll go away. They'll come up with some sort of like settlement agreement wherein Trump saves face and they also get what they want without getting rid of TikTok. Like there'll be something. But that concept right there of just saying we can't say Free Palestine, Viva Palestina. Look,
yeah, Free Palestine. And I have to tell you, thank you so much, Sable. I really appreciate it.
That's one of the things. Viva Palestina.
So I highly doubt that the person that I was dealing with earlier today from a work perspective would even have any clue about a show like this. So I'm just going to say it. I have a very different attitude. Look, there was always something about the Israeli culture that I never particularly liked or enjoyed. I could tell that they were very incestuous and very egotistical, rude.
They're no more incestuous than any insulated community,
Well, the difference, though, is that they are embedded in my world. Like they have a major foothold in the world that I'm in. And
they're just extremely entitled people. They're very entitled people. I've noticed that my whole life.
And this is probably true. We'll need some verification on it, but I have no doubt that it's probably the case.
They're going to start clearing there and north. They're also going north. They're going into Syria.
So even if you do so what is the point of a ceasefire in Gaza if you're just going to do the exact same thing in the West Bank?
Well, they're not going to follow the ceasefire in Gaza either.
They're not going to do that either.
Well, that's my whole point. Is what is the point of any agreement with a country that doesn't honor agreements? What is the point of that? They're not going to stop. Now, they're going to keep apparently doing these frequent or occasional prisoner exchanges over the next however many phases of this agreement. But at the end of the day, for them, they're not going to stop. Israel's not going to stop. They're not stopping because we don't want them to stop.
So I also want to say that it was when I was getting on the phone today I had a thing that I needed to do for business this afternoon. And so I called up because I was having an issue with the Zoom link that I was trying to connect with, and I wasn't sure what the issue was. So I called up and the assistant said, oh, he's in Israel right now. So we'll have to, connect you a different way. And I just thought, I don't apologize.
What did he say?
The assistant said that he was in Israel and that he was probably having a connection issue. So we'll see if there's another way to get it fixed.
And you didn't realize that he was somebody that would be in Israel? Is he not Israeli?
No, I thought he was in Brooklyn. No, not Brooklyn. I thought he was in I'm not going to say where, but let's just say it's a very.
But he lives in Israel, is what you're saying?
No, I think he's visiting. Oh, so
he could be anybody that's just visiting there, is what you're saying.
No, he lives in New Jersey. He lives in a very Jewish part of New Jersey. And so I didn't really think anything of it. But once he said that he was in Israel, I was just like, oh, God.
It's just so, I know.
It is. And you could say, oh, that's anti-Semitic. No, actually it's not, because the only people who are going to Israel right now are people who fully embrace what the fuck's going on right now.
Whether they're Christians or Jews. You've got people like friggin' Mike Huckabee. It's exactly. It has nothing.
Like Mike, I am praying for the rapture in my lifetime, Huckabee.
He won't even say Palestine or Palestinians. He's like Debbie.
No, he says it's no such thing.
No, it's Judea Samara. Yeah, from your Bible. Oh my God. Anybody who, if your reference of geopolitics includes a biblical reference, then we're done speaking. We have nothing to talk about. Like that's just, but that's the perspective.
And that's the whole thing about the TikTok ban. It's as I've said, and what makes it even more interesting, and this is where the whole story kind of comes together when you're talking about Luigi Mangione. Remember, Luigi's story is still very strong, and we're going to continue to talk about it. But make no mistake, it was strongest on TikTok. That's where so much of that story kept facilitating. And then if you remember what we talked about on the last show and why you've got Red Note that's out there, what you're seeing from a lot of people over in China as they communicate with us, they're looking at us saying, guys, why in the hell don't you have healthcare? We Chinese, we have healthcare. What's going on in your country?
He's becoming like a little bit of a folk hero in China.
He is. How is he not a folk hero at this point?
He's going to be, well, first of all, I mean, you know, the whole Luigi thing, you know, I mean, yeah. It's kind of like he's meant to be a little like emoji folk hero for China. That's what it almost, like he's perfect for it.
Humorous. Thank you so much for the $5.
Humorous and Cat are having a spat.
They're having a spat. I apologize for
everybody play nice. No, they're being civil, but there's definitely there is, and Willie says something interesting, which is that, you know, which we've said before, is Christian Zionists are the most toxic form of Zionism, and it is. They are.
Yeah, probably.
Because they actually want us to be there so that we could all die and they could have the rapture. They're not wanting it for a safe space for Jews, which is why Jewish Zionists, even though I don't agree with them, many of them, it's based on fear and need of safety and worrying about what's going to happen to them. So it isn't wishing for the world destruction.
I guess me, myself, and I doesn't know me too well. But thank you. I appreciate it. I'm probably more Christ-like than most people. So.
I'm a big fan of Jesus. You know, I
Jesus. You like Jesus?
I do like Jesus. Don't mess with the Jesus.
Don't mess with the Jesus.
Don't mess with the Jesus.
8-year-olds, dude. 8-year-olds, dude.
Peter finally watched Best in Show and Galaxy Quest. I'm very proud of you.
Yes.
Did you like Galaxy Quest?
Galaxy Quest was very funny.
I told you.
Very funny. That was
I told you.
It was more even when you saw Rainn Wilson, and of course this was before, you know, this was before The Office. So this movie's going back to like the late 90s.
It was so funny, that movie. Guys, we're talking about Galaxy Quest. If you have not seen it, I highly recommend. Yeah, I know. It's just so freaking fun. First of all, Tony Shalhoub and Alan Rickman, to me, like those two, it was just
the thing about Rickman is that, and I actually saw Michael Collins.
See, everybody loves Galaxy Quest.
There's no way to explain how great of an actor Alan Rickman was, and how he also could laugh at himself because he's
so friggin' funny.
Such a Brit in so many ways. I don't really want to. You know, he's like, he's, you know, I don't want to get my hands dirty. It's like, why do people love this stuff so much?
Sam Rockwell, the whole thing. It was all good.
No, it was. And it was a very, it's silly, but it was funny. It was done well. It was.
And yes, Henry, Best in Show is a Christopher Guest movie from the same people that This Is Spinal Tap. Also Mighty Wind, Waiting for Guffman. It's brilliant. But to me, Best in Show is the best. That to me is just the best.
Well, I thought Mr. Ward's performance as the announcer was the most enjoyable.
He was good. He was good. Yeah.
And of course, anytime you're doing it to spite the British snoot is, well, I don't know if that's the reason they were doing that, but it's certainly possible.
You're talking about what's his name? Fred Willard.
Yes. Yes, he was great. He was great in that role. I didn't enjoy Best in Show as much.
Well, it's a totally different vibe. You're comparing apples and oranges. It's a completely different movie.
I will tell you that to me, the funniest part.
Parker Posey with the Busy Bee and the Weimaraner and the braces and the whole thing. You're right. It was just,
No, I think personally, I think that the funniest part of Best in Show was at the very beginning when they have the dog on the therapy couch. Like that whole thing, just the way they laid that out with Parker.
It's just all so good, all of it. Michael McKean and that other guy with the Shih Tzus, with the kimono, the guy with the kimonos, he didn't pack enough kimonos. Like, I can't. Eugene Levy with the 2 left feet. God loves a terrier. I can't, like, Best in Show to me is one of those that it's up there with like Lebowski in terms of, I have a lot of like very common quotes and thoughts of it. Well, if you haven't seen Best in Show, I highly recommend.
Well, that's just
like a good movie reviews.
Yeah, well, that's just like your opinion, man. Well, guys, listen, I would totally be open to doing, if you want to do that every once in a while, Jen, where we could discuss like a popular movie. It could be politically related. It could be, we could get into it. I think it would be fun to talk about.
It depends on what it is, and it needs to be something that if I've already seen or I want to see. I'm not going to force myself to watch something I don't want to see. So, and that's the thing when you do reviews, sometimes you sit there and watch shit and you don't like, I'm not doing that.